It's like they don't like our own country. Like, you live here, you live in America, and you're hating on the nation that you live in, when there are so many other nations that you can go and you can move to. There are trains out every day. There are planes out every day. If you wanted to leave, I guarantee you they're not going to give you a hard time leaving. So why don't you just leave? Well, but this is the issue. People would rather complain about America is so bad and they've never been anywhere else in the world outside of their American privilege. They go to other places and they're like, oh, it's so great. It's so great because it's so much better than America. But you are here. Go there. It's not a very complicated sentiment. If you think America is terrible, you're more than welcome to go to any other country in the world. However, I love my country. I think my country is fantastic. It's one of the best countries in the world, if not the best country in the world. If you ask me, it's the best country in the history of the world. Hallelujah. But the truth of the matter is, look at how many people try to come into our country, right? Does that weigh for nothing? You know, people are like, oh, well, we don't like America. Are you serious? Look at how many people struggle and go through all types of craziness just to cross the border to get into our country. And you're mad at our country and you hate our country. You sound dumb. Clearly, they don't dislike it enough not to come here. Clearly, it's better than everywhere that they came from. Like, what is the nonsense in relation to that? We've got to restore pride. We've got to restore concern, and we've got to restore focus in the American people and in our nation. Where is the patriotism? You know, there are so many people that hate our country so much that live in our country that have never been anywhere else. And now they've been fed a crazy lie about socialism, that everything is going to be better under socialism because everybody's going to have equal stuff. Well, who's stupid? Nobody wants equal stuff. I don't want the same stuff my neighbor has. My neighbor doesn't even have the same taste that I have. Why would I want everything the same as them? They don't want everything the same as me. And even if we were going to get it down to brass tacks and everybody's got a nasty little bowl of oatmeal and everybody gets one bowl of oatmeal a day, somebody's going to want 2 bowls of oatmeal. And that's exactly the reason why socialism doesn't work. But can we have that conversation? Take 2 seconds, hit the like button, hit the share. It doesn't cost you anything. Drop some comments in the comments. We'll try to pop your comments as they come up and be part of the conversation if you're online. Definitely. And thank you for tuning in. You're listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We are here in your ear having the conversations you need to hear on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. So hit the like, hit the share. I see a lot of you watching out there. Just drop a like or even drop an American flag or another emoji. And that all helps a lot to get us out there to show more people the show. All right, let's jump into it. We have a history of being a nation that is so great. People will come from all across the world to actually come into our country. I mean, this isn't a new concept, right? It's since the founding of the United States of America, people have wanted to come here because of the great benefits and the great prosperity. People have come here from everywhere, from Europe to Africa to Australia, everywhere. Everywhere. People from every corner of the country, of the world have come to America. And this is a problem because now we've got people that hate our country that are here. Every single last person that hates the United States of America, that is inside the United States of America, should be removed from the United States of America. It's not very complicated. Okay, you hate our country, you've got to go. There is the door, no line, no waiting. Let's get you out of here. You don't like it? Let's help you get gone. But now we're just patting people on the shoulder and telling them, oh, it's great that you dislike our country and you disrespect our country internally. What other nation could you go to in the world and they allow that? It's very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. And I'll tell you this, I was talking to a lady today, and she was complaining about how we have a low birth rate in the United States. And she was like, that's why we need the illegal aliens here. I'm coughing because I like to choke when she said it herself, you know. And I said, what? I said, do you understand that we have a population issue because you and other people like you support baby murder? And I know that might be a controversial topic to some people, but baby murder is not okay. And people say, oh, well, yes, it is. And it's this and it's that. And they'll make all the excuses for it. Okay, well, but you can't say that you support that and then complain that we should keep these people because we don't have enough people. Since the 1970s, since Roe versus Wade, was that 63, something like that? Okay. Since then, we've had almost 70 million, 66 million that we know of. Okay, children murdered. Could you imagine? 70 million children murdered. Okay, so if we actually had those children, we wouldn't have a population issue now, would we? This is serious. This is really serious. But you're like, oh, we should keep actual illegal aliens here because we have a serious issue with population. Maybe if we stop killing our babies, then we won't have a population issue. And people will say, well, you know, poor people shouldn't have kids. That is a very concerning thing to say. You know who else said stuff like that? Hitler. Can we talk about him, Mr. Mustache? No, you can't say anything about that. You can't say that those things that these people are espousing, that they're holding up, are the same type of conversations and standpoints that Hitler shared. Now they're talking about, oh, any babies that might have deformities or maladies or might come out retarded should be murdered. What? Is that what we're doing? You know? Have you ever seen Man in the High Castle? They're like, they burned the cripples on Tuesday. You know, like it's like this was a thing that they did in Nazi Germany. They also practiced sterilization. And this is what people are talking about now. Now we have medically aided induced death that's up and running in New York State, where I am right now. And it's very concerning because, again, it goes to the depreciation of the value of life. And nobody wants to talk about that continued thought process. You wonder why they allow criminals all over the place and to run amok, but we've got it right now here in our actual integrated legal system and legislative system where you can kill babies and you can kill the elderly. So what's different than that from killing a person on the street? Please make it make sense. This is a very concerning conversation. But if we have a full conversation on this, a lot of people will start to get angry. But if the value of life is nothing, then no life has any value. We've seen that they are perfectly okay with mutilating children and stuff like that, and gender reassignment, and what's the other word what do they call it? Gender affirming and stuff like that. That's not gender affirming. You came into the world in the right body. You changing it, mutilating it, contorting it in any type of way. It isn't gender reaffirming. It's attempted gender erasure or gender rewriting. And you can't rewrite gender. But they'll say, oh, well, there's a difference between gender and sex. No, there's not. Stop playing. There never has been. That's just some new concocted nonsense that they want to push out there so that people feel like it's good. And it's not. It's really not. I think that one of the worst things that we've ever done is diminish the concept of what life is. And here's the deal. If babies don't matter and the elderly don't matter, then nobody matters, right? because that's the early age and the late age. So if you don't have babies, nobody is in between. If you get rid of the elders, there's no elders. What's the next part left to get rid of? The people that are in the middle, the people that are already existing. Oh, so that's why there are so many murders and stuff like that that are going on, that they just essentially look the other way on. That's why there's so much violence and crime, and they just look the other way on it. It's very, very, very concerning. Very concerning. Let me ask you a question. Does your life matter? Does your life have value? So if your life matters and your life has value, how much more so somebody else, right? If your life has value, other people's lives must have some sort of value. Maybe not to you as an individual, but they do intrinsically. Yes, it is like playing God. That's exactly what it is. Somebody said it's like playing God. Yes, 100%. 100%. And if we don't get away from this concept, we're going to have a very, very serious problem coming soon. And you'll say, well, Marcus, what's that? And I'll say very simply, look who's pushing all of these things. Look who's pushing all of these things. It is the government. Like we talked about in the beginning of the show. You can't trust the government. Like if the government is pushing it for you, and we're talking about 8 out of 10 times, it's probably because it's going to benefit them and not you. 1 out of the 9 times it might benefit you and them. And then the other time it's not going to benefit nobody. Somebody's just paying them to do it. And it's probably benefiting a foreign country. But that's a whole nother conversation. So I'm concerned. I am very concerned about what's going on with the depreciation of the value of life. But we also have a number of other things that are going on across the world. Like we've got the Iran issue, which I'm so sick and tired of Iran. I'm so sick and tired of talking about Iran. Why are we still there? What is going on? Why are we not done with whatever that is? Why can't we just bomb them back to the Stone Age? I was promised we were bombing them back to the Stone Age. That's what I was promised. Did not happen. Okay. So I was promised the biggest attack since World War II, and it didn't happen. I'm tired. I'm tired of dealing with the Iran situation. I don't care if it's Israel's fault for keep killing up everybody as soon as we start to really negotiate with people to hold stuff together. Okay, I don't care about that. Okay, maybe they need a swift kick on their backside because they keep causing problems for us trying to get stuff done. Okay. An ally that's out there bending us over behind our back, sticking kick me signs on our back. It's a problem. But we can't even talk about that publicly. This is a situation that we find ourselves in our nation right now. I'm concerned because how much longer, right? Like how much longer? If it is up to me, we would have turned Iran to glass years ago. Years ago. We wouldn't have been all of this troops and bombings and stuff like that. No, we would have turned them to glass, because how are you going to tell me death to America all these times? You ain't got to tell me death to America, but once I got your number, we coming and we dropping a nuke down your chimney. Okay? Like what are we doing? Like what are we doing? You just going to let somebody pop some smack like that and let it go? That's like somebody coming up to you telling you they're going to kill your family and you. Like what? You just gonna let that go? So I know, and there's no room to let that go. If somebody's talking about they're gonna kill you and your family, you don't just let that go. So here we are. Now we're over here, which we shouldn't be over here to begin with. Okay, I get it. I like the concept that we went over there to try to do some stuff to push back China and to really set back Iran and all of the, I guess, money that they had coming in to help fund their little subsidiaries around the world that were giving us problems. But realistically, we've been over there far too long. And I'm tired of it. We got to deal with Cuba. Cuba to me is more important than Iran right now. Okay. And I don't know why we're not really handling Cuba. Honestly, I think we should just take Cuba back. It used to be part of the United States of America, and now it's not. And that's a serious problem. hit the like button, hit the share button. It don't cost you nothing. And if you want to support the show and you're on the radio, you can go to rochesterfreeradio.com and you can donate on there, or you can go to the Patreon for Rochester Free Radio. And if you're online, either way, right here in the corner on the side or down below, depending on what you're looking at on the size of the screen, please donate to the show, whether it's $5, $10, it doesn't matter, $25, $100, whatever you can. Everything helps the show continue to grow, and airtime isn't free. So help us be seen, help us be heard, and hit the like button, hit the share button, because that don't cost you nothing. And drop some comments, because every comment helps. Now let's jump into this really, really lightly, but really quick, because I think it is important. We're negotiating with Iran. Iran says they're not negotiating with us. We're like, okay, yes, we are negotiating with them. The president's like, I don't know what these people are talking about. We're not negotiating with them, because there's 50 different splinter groups right now, right? And if we really bomb Iran too much, it's going to even cause a bigger problem, because there will be even more splinter groups and nobody knows who controls the weapons or anything like that. And there's no cohesive head of the snake, as one might say, because it's like I guess you would say a hydra or a basilisk or something like that, where you cut the head off and another two pop up, and it's really becoming a serious issue. And the more heads you cut off, the smaller it gets, the harder it gets to cut the heads, you know? So it's a very serious problem. And where is the end goal over there? I don't know. We're negotiating with who? They said that the guy that's supposed to be in charge, the Khomeini, the son of Khomeini or whatever, that he don't got no lips and no vocal cord. So it's real hard to talk to him. And who knows how much of that is accurate and how much of it isn't. But I guarantee that he's all jacked up real bad. That's why we haven't seen him yet. But that's not a real conversation that people want to have. And I love my country, and I support going over there and tearing up stuff to give China a hard time and to prevent China from advancing 100%. I do not support our allies blowing up everybody that we're negotiating with. I do not support us being over there for what seems like 20 years now. Jiminy crackers, how long has it been? You know, we're on what? Is it a year now? Shoot, I can't even keep track. Too long. So I'm about ready to be done with whatever's going in Iran. And I'm sure that if it's me, that it's a ton of other people that are completely fed up with this. And I'm very upset, honestly, because we've got so much in the homeland that we have to take care of, that we've got all of these military people over there, and it's costing us millions of dollars every single day. And where is the benefit? At some point, I need a benefit. Now, speaking of benefits, I'd like to talk about what's going on in Gaza, because there is some benefit. How about that? So in Gaza right now, the president is negotiating with Hamas, and they're working on disarmament. So I think that that's actually, honestly, phenomenal. Phenomenal. They're talking about they're going to disarm, and that's going to be a good thing. But it's hit a bit of a roadblock right now, because while they've accepted terms, it seems like Israel is not accepting the terms. And that's a problem. And Israel is saying that it wants to withdraw. And that's a very serious issue. So if Israel withdraws from the conversation and the talks before everything is settled, then what does that mean? They continue to get to blow up people and do whatever they want? It's concerning. It's concerning. And also Israel, by the way, they said last week, they're going to blow them up anyway. And that's concerning. Like, are you serious? Nobody wants to disarm first. Israel's supposed to pull out of there, and Gaza is supposed to be their own free zone, and Hamas is going to disarm, and all of this and all of that. But the question is who's going to do what? So we'll see if there's going to be a reinvigoration of conflict in Gaza sometime soon. But the United States is doing everything it can to put that baby to bed. Okay. Which is interesting because you see all of these so-called pro-Palestinian people out here acting all crazy. Really, they're all domestic terrorists. Okay, they're anti-American and anti-Christian. They don't give a flying monkey's uncle about Palestine. Or they be cheering the United States on, as we have continued from the beginning of this whole thing, to try to work out a peaceful resolution to it. But no, they don't want that because, the US and Israel are in bed together or whatever the case is. Come on, stop. Come off it. Come off it. If that's the case, then you're saying that you hate America too, and no matter what America does, nothing is going to be good enough for you. You're going to just hate America anyway. And that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable at all. A couple of other interesting things is the Chinese visas have been cut for Chinese students in the US. And that's something that I'm very happy about. Oh my goodness. They said they cut them by like 75%. I don't know if that's true, and we'll see what the final numbers are. But it seems like they've revoked almost 180,000 visas already, and they're stopping more from coming in. I said that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Because if you know me, one of the things that I'm very much so strong on is stop letting people into this country. Like, what are we doing? Why do we need the Chinese here? What are they doing to benefit us? We bring all of these people over here on student visas, and it's something crazy like 98% of them return home, after school. 98% of them return home after school, I think in the first 3 years. And then it's like 85% of them are gone within the first 10. That's the numbers that are left, right? So it's diminishing numbers, right? So if almost all of the students leave that are here, what were they ever here for? And of course, there's ones that are overstaying their visas. I want them to go after everybody here on an overstay visa. If you're on an overstay visa, you really got to go, because that tells me that you knew how to do it right and you just didn't care, and you completely disrespected us as a nation. So that tells me that you are the biggest threat to our country and you should never be here again. And that's very serious. Hit the like button, hit the share button. It don't cost you nothing. Drop some comments so we can pop them up on the screen. And let's jump back into it. With all of these visa permissions being rearranged and readjusted, it starts to paint a very serious picture of all of these higher education institutions that allegedly are supposed to be for Americans, but are really making all of their money off of, guess what? Illegal aliens and people on foreign visas. It depends on what state you're in, right? So each one is a little bit different. So in New York State, I'll give you the best example I can, is my state right here. I love my state, right? But these people crazy. So we've got a very prestigious university where I live called the University of Rochester. And they've been crying and bawling their eyes out because they said because of the limitation of visas by the Trump administration that they're not going to be making as much money as they were. And it's a problem for them. Well, for me, that's a problem. What do you mean it's a problem that they're cutting back the number of visas for you because you've built your financial model off of foreigners coming into this country that are just coming here temporarily to leave again? What type of a business model is that for an American institution? And you're supposed to be an American educational institution? Who's stupid? That opens up the door for so many other questions. Are you taking foreign money too? Whatever else is going on over there. And this is what we see across our nation. We also have the ones where in New York State, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but in New York State, illegal aliens get free college no matter what course they decided they want to take. Illegal aliens. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm not talking about foreigners. I'm not talking about refugees. That's a whole separate conversation, but specifically illegal aliens, undocumented people, right? Like, that's wild. And how can somebody be undocumented? They're like, nobody can never be illegal. Well, what the heck is an undocumented person? That sounds even more ludicrous. Like, but these are work plays with language that they want to do to soften the idea and the concept behind illegal aliens. Because they know that if they can soften the terminology and ingratiate it with you and make it more humanized, that you're more likely to just say, oh, well, we'll go along with it. And I see so many Black and Puerto Ricans going along with it right now, and it's very frustrating. Why are you supporting foreigners and illegal aliens, right? And I put them in two different categories, okay? Foreigners and illegal aliens, right? Why are you supporting them? They only hurt and take away from your community. I was having a conversation with this Puerto Rican lady yesterday, man, and we were at the store, and this lady bought like all of the butter. Like all of the butter. This lady had like 3 carts of butter, okay? I don't know, like, not, I shouldn't say carts, but crates, right? Like big, each one, I don't know how much butter it had, but like 50 to 100 things, boxes of butter, and in each box was 4 butters. And so how many is that? Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. So we know that what's going to happen with that, and she's some foreign Muslim person, right? All we know is that's going to go to somebody's cousin's stores and all of this stuff, and they're going to resell it in Black and in Puerto Rican neighborhoods for way more money than what they bought it for. Because that's what they're doing. It's all about capital extraction. We need to have a very serious conversation about that when it comes to illegal aliens and all foreigners, period. This is why I'm very close to just saying completely shut down all immigration, period. Don't let nobody in. Because what do you mean that if they come in here, they're going to send all their money to foreign countries? What do you mean? What do you mean? And that's a problem. A very serious problem. Let me explain it to you real simple, right? Think of it like this, right? Your water, it gets recycled, right? So let's say you have a limited amount of water, right? So the water is limited, cash is limited, right? They call it liquid cash, right? See? So let's say these people take this water and now they decide to take it to a whole nother county. Well, now you can't, it's not coming back into your county, no way, no how. It's the same thing with money. Let's say they take the money to a whole nother country. It's not coming back to your community, no way, no how. And it's a very, very serious issue. It's a very, very serious issue. And we need to have that conversation. But no, because, oh, you can't say anything about illegal aliens. You can't say anything about foreigners or anything. I want them to completely shut down all of the money out of the country. Stop being able to let people send money out of a country. Okay? No more foreign repatriations of American currency. Foreign, would that be foreign patriations? I don't know. Whatever it means to send money out, our money out of our country. Okay? Don't do it. Don't stop letting people do it. You know how much money we send out each year? Like, you think that the billions that we've given to Ukraine or Israel is a lot of money? You should see the billions that they send overseas. You know, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And no other country allows that. You know, it's really frustrating when we see all of our money, our education, our students that we're teaching go back to wherever they're from. It goes back to wherever they're from. And then what do we have left? Nothing. Nothing. We have nothing. We have less. And who benefits? They benefit. And that's what the whole serious bit of the whole thing is. Somebody says some crazy stuff on here. Somebody said, and I'm pop this this up here, says the destruction of America will be my greatest achievement. George Soros. Okay, this is exactly what these people want. They want to destroy our country, and they're attacking us all from all sides. They're attacking us from every single side, from inside, from outside, from the north, from the east, from the west, and every angle in between. And we really need to understand that while a lot of these people don't necessarily seem to be working together or to know each other and stuff like that, and they're still working for the same goal. And that goal is the destruction of the United States of America. And we have to understand that. And we have to ask ourselves, well, what are we doing to preserve our country? You know, we need to stop the money from fleeing our country, our money. It's very frustrating. It's it's frustrating, and it makes me want to say a whole bunch of stuff that you really shouldn't say on the radio or the internet, but it's upsetting. It's really, really, really upsetting. And I'm not going to stand for it. I really don't think that anybody else should stand for it either. We need our money in our country. We need any of the students that we're teaching and stuff. How do we teach all of these students and they go back to their other country and their homelands and stuff like that? And then they build up that while we're what? Left with nothing. We get nothing. You know, we get a couple of bucks in tuition and really they steal all our research and all of that. It's really, 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 really upsetting. It's really upsetting. This is why other countries don't let you send a lot of their money out of the country. Why are we the only one that are allowing people to send money out of the country? Like, that's dumb. It's the president actually tried to stop that. And he tried to make it, I believe, and don't quote me on this. He tried to make it, I want to say it was like 10% or something, might have been 5% additional on any convenience fee for sending money abroad, right? Because that's our money. We should be recouping some of that because we're losing. But apparently not. Now, I want to go in and I want to talk again more about the government. Let's talk about some AI and stuff like that, how AI is exploding right now, exploding. But the government's funding of AI is exploding also. So we've got I believe it's about $5 billion across 15 different agencies, all the alphabet agencies, and they're working on integrating AI into all of their technology. Now, this is alarming to me because a lot of this stuff is being done by companies like Palantir, who I do not trust as far as I can throw Alex Karp, okay? Which is kind of crazy. That dude it's insane, okay? So he basically is a AI arms dealer, right? And he wants to collect all the data on all of the people, all of the times, so he can do whatever he wants all the time. It's very concerning. And Palantir is not the only company like that. There are a number of them. All of them we should be concerned about. The data centers are a very serious problem, but not for the reason that people think, you know? But we must fight on and win the battle of AI because we've got to beat China in that, right? Right? But what safeguards are being put in to protect us as the citizens from massive data collection and data aggregation? And that is a very serious conversation that nobody wants to have. That's a very big problem. Can we talk about mass data aggregation and how many data points that the government is starting to collect on everybody? And how that should be alarming everybody, because that not only makes you have no privacy in the real world, it means you have no digital privacy. And it just completely erases your constitutional rights. So this is a serious issue. We can't really talk about that because people don't want to. But on the tip of everybody's tongue right now is flock cameras. And if you've been listening to me for some time, I've been talking about biometric scanning. And I've been talking about these cameras and stuff like that for the last couple of years. I've even submitted legislation on the city level to work on stopping biometric scanning in public. But these people don't want to move anything forward because they don't want to change anything that'll actually help our people. And people are like, yeah, we need more government, more government. The government doesn't give a lick of spit about you. It's up to us to steer the government, not the government to steer us. What do they say? They say, don't let somebody else drive your bus for you. Well, the government's driving our bus right off a cliff for us. So it's up to us to stand up and say, no, we don't want these things. No, we don't want a ton of solar panels on all of the farmlands in our countryside. What? Like, what are we doing? Like, but in New York State, you don't have any choice. Okay. ORES does what it wants. The state government does what it wants. Okay. And we need to be very understanding that if they do it on that, you can just forget it about your data privacy and tracking. I'm concerned about the flock cameras, but I'm also kind of glad that the people understand about the flock cameras, but there's so much more other surveillance going on. All of the surveillance and that's being networked together and all types of stuff. Now, to go back to the AI in the government usage, they used to have these things called FBI profilers, right? Where they would have to build a profile on you based on your character, based on who you are, the people you hang out with, where you go, what you do. And the more data points that they had, the easier it was to predict your movements, who you are, what you're likely to do, and stuff like that. But now online, we have a whole thing. It's called a profile right on the internet, and everybody puts all their stuff on there. Now, if that wasn't scary enough, now you got these things in the government looking at what your family history is, what your medical history is, what your social security stuff is, what your this is, what your that is, the school loan you applied for 20 years ago, the this, the that, the third, and all of this. And all of it's weaving it all together like one complete piece of fabric to create a giant picture of you, right? But with all that data, what can you do? Mass aggregated data of any individual is dangerous because then not only do they know where you are, they know what you're likely to do, which means that they can make you do things that you wouldn't even know. And it would be like the hand of God just nudged you in that direction. It's kind of like when the FBI works these people into committing these terrorist acts. Like they try to sell them weapons or bombs and stuff like that. And then they were like, we're caught a terrorist, but you made the terrorists. You've been working to talk them for months or years into trying to commit some sort of a grievous thing, implanting thoughts and kinds of information into their heads to try to get them to maneuver in a certain way. So if they do that to them now, and we know that that's something that commonly happens, how much more when they have more data on you, when there's more things are controlled by computers where they can more easily drop pieces of breadcrumbs for you. But, you know, it's too much like having a serious conversation. And I appreciate being able to have these real conversations with you because not a lot of people want to actually talk about them. I'm very happy that they caught a number of baby mills that are in the United States, some that are in Texas. I heard there was one in New Jersey. I didn't get a chance to look into that before the show, but I heard there was one in New Jersey that they just busted with like 100 Turkish people that had come over here to give babies, to give birth. Craziness. But this is, again, why we need to focus on the homeland. You know, this is all being done and being pushed through the concept that, oh, birthright citizenship is something that is for everybody. It's not. It was for the babies of slaves and for slaves, and it got warped and it got contorted because it's beneficial to foreign nations. And this is the problem. Foreign nations are all up and in our government. Then we've got these crazy people, again, like I was talking in the beginning of the show, about all of the emotionalism in the United States of America. And how everything now is based off of emotion. And all of these emotional, they used to call them bleeding hearts. I don't know what we call them today. Leftist liberals. I don't know what we call them today, but these bleeding hearts, okay? And they're like, oh, everybody deserves to be in America. No borders, no this, no that. No, they don't. No, they don't. We have to have strong borders. We have to have strong immigration policies because there's no other way to protect the homeland. Who else is looking out for America if not America? Nobody. You think that France gives a flying monkey's uncle about America? No. You think that Egypt gives a flying monkey's uncle about America? No. Do you think that Argentina gives a flying monkey's uncle about America? No. No. They only care for us about how much we can do for them. And it's straight like that. Drop some comments, hit the like button, hit the share button. It don't cost you nothing. And you are tuned into The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody to tune into The Divide, 2:30 to 4 p.m. every Monday. So also, if you guys want to help out the show real quick, look on either side right there or down below. You can see how to donate to the show. We've got Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Donate, do what you can. $5, $25, $125, whatever you can do. All of it helps the show so that we can get more airtime and get more stuff out to you. So do that, and definitely hit the like and the share button because it don't cost you nothing. Now, let's jump back into it. So we're talking about these bleeding hearts that don't want anybody to be booted out of the country, and they want to let everybody in because, you know, open borders are the greatest thing since sliced cheese. It's nonsense. Or they'll tell you, oh, well, we're a nation of migrants and stuff like that, or immigrants, or whatever they want to call it this Tuesday. Listen, all of that's nonsense, perfunctory nonsense that they use to try to cultivate language, to use it to meticulously reorient the way that you think so that you'll be more amenable to what they're trying to sell you. Don't buy what they're selling you, right? Because these people aren't coming in here for our benefit. They're coming in here for a self-benefit. And who benefits? Them, their people, not our country. Not our country. And then people say, oh, well, you know, they're all working, they're doing the work that people don't want to do. Nobody wants to do farm work and stuff like that. What do you mean nobody wants to do farm work? How many farm jobs do you think there are in America? We got over 30 million illegal aliens, and you talking about farm jobs? Man, please, there ain't all that farm jobs in the world, more or less in America. Craziness, crazy. And are you saying that's all they can do is low-level entry type of work? So you mean that they're competing with our students that could get any type of job after they get out of school? So now you've created artificial competition for our own people. Why would you do that? Why would you cut your nose off to spite your face? Why would you do that? But that's too much like a real conversation. And again, it goes to the soft, lovey-dovey feelings that these people get from trying to tell you that they're so great because of their whole standpoint that we're self-righteous and we're going to stand on what we believe because it's right because we said so. What nonsense? What are we even talking about? What are these people talking about? It's crazy. It's really crazy. And it's upsetting, right? It's upsetting because if we don't do something now, when is anything ever going to change, right? We just let everybody in. We let them completely change our culture. We let them completely change our language until we look like what? England? Where they've got all types of signs in all types of different language instead of English? Like we speak English in America. In England, the country that the language is named after, they got signs in foreign languages. Make it make sense. What are we doing to ourselves? Why are we doing this to ourselves? And I know somebody's going to get mad at the next statement I said. Good for them. The next statement I got for you is there should only be one language spoken in the United States of America, and that should be English, and there shouldn't be no other languages in the United States of America. Okay? No forms, no signs, no nothing. And I stand on that. And I know somebody's going to get upset and they're going to be like, well, what about other people's culture and heritage? What about American culture and heritage? We got to preserve our stuff. Forget their stuff. What about our stuff? And the more that we move away from the base, core, integral things that unite us all as a nation, the further from being a cohesive nation we get. And that's exactly where we are right now. But nobody wants to have that conversation because, again, it's too much like right. It's too much like right. So we have to ask ourselves, if nobody's willing to stand up for us, who's going to stand up for us? It's got to be us. It's got to be us that stands up. We have to get involved. We have to advocate for ourselves. Where can we best do that? On the local level. My city itself is a sanctuary city. My city itself is allowing all these crazy illegal aliens to do whatever they want and all types of stuff. And I'm readily pushing back against that. But most people won't come out to city council meetings. They won't go to school board meetings. They won't go out and they won't address the serious, crucial issues where they are. You know, our mayor passed some unconstitutional nonsense by a single, I guess what you call it, an executive order. Okay, talking about you can't limit it. We're going to limit your ability to fellowship in groups more than 10 in public spaces at nighttime. What unconstitutional nonsense is that? And is anybody out here that's screaming no kings, no kings? Is anybody out here screaming no kings about that? No. It's only about Trump. It's only about Christ. They don't want Christ. No kings is completely about no Jesus. That's what these people want. That's the one thing that unites all of them. All of them are anti-Christian. That's what it is. They're anti-Christian, they're anti-American, and they hate you and they hate me. And we need to be pushing back against these people because they're nothing more than a vile, evil contingent that is doing whatever it can to push back against us and preserving our nation. Why? Because it makes them feel good, or because they feel bad about themselves. So now they have to help by destroying our nation. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Now, to point out on how much these people hate Christians, right where I live, okay, not too far from me, maybe about 10, 15 minutes, is the town of Brighton, right? It's right on the outskirts of our city. And in the town of Brighton, all the time you see these pro-Palestinian, anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-Israel, anti-Jewish protests, right? Now, Brighton is largely a Jewish town, and this is going to get very important topic of this conversation in a second. So Brighton is a heavily Jewish town, and you got all of these anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, anti-American people out there protesting, right? Protesting against Jews, right? Protesting against Israel, protesting against America, protesting against Christianity. And nobody does anything about that. They even, during Ramadan, had a whole little setup for Ramadan and a celebration for Ramadan in Brighton. Now, remember, this is a Jewish town. Now, I need you to hear me, follow me on this story, okay? So now this is a Jewish town. So they even had an event for Ramadan. They also have all of the pride flags, all about everything is pride. They changed the logo for the city for pride and stuff like that. More anti-Christian nonsense, anti-Christ garbage. But the point is that they allow the Muslims to have their little celebrations publicly there. They allow the alphabet people to have their little public celebrations there. They allow the Jews to have their little public celebrations and their menorah lighting over there in 12 corners. But for the last 3 years, a guy has been trying to get them to put a nativity scene there that's going to be a privately funded nativity scene, and they won't let him do it. Okay? They won't see him. They won't return his calls. They won't return his emails. They do not want this to happen. And you have to ask yourself why. Why? Because they're all the enemies of Christ. Full stop. They are the enemies of Christ. They are the enemies of tradition, and they are the enemies of the United States of America. Full stop. Full stop. Okay? And we need to have that conversation because it's so upsetting that this is happening right here in our city, right? Like, well, the town next to our city, but still our city. It's crazy. And who's speaking up and who's saying anything? You know how I found out about that? I found out about that from a Christian site that tracks anti-Christian stuff that happens in our country. I didn't even hear it on the local news. How did that not get on the local news? What happened? I still haven't heard it on the local news. I found out, like, what's today? Monday? I found out Saturday at like 11 p.m. at night. You understand what I'm saying? So I still haven't heard it on the news. Why haven't I heard it on the news here locally? It's a federally filed lawsuit. Why haven't I heard anything about it? What's going on? You understand? So these are the serious conversations. These people hate Christians. They hate America. They hate our way of life. And they're going to do anything that they can to upend it, to change it over, and to warp it and contort it into whatever they want to that is against Christ. And that's it. That's exactly it. It's frustrating and it's very upsetting, right? Because more Christians need to stand. And this goes back to a weak society right now that we were talking about in the beginning of the show. We have created weak Christianity. We have let the devil inside the church and fund and found weak Christianity within the body of Christ. We have let it lull our nation to sleep, lull Christians to sleep while the enemy takes over our country. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are our people not standing up? You understand what I'm saying? We've got one chance to really make a difference, to really do something, and that's right now. There is not going to be a later. There's not going to be a time in the future where we can do something and make a difference then. Now is the time for us to stand up, to preserve our nation, to preserve Christianity, to preserve our traditions. And I was talking yesterday to a guy, and he's not Christian at all. And we were talking, and he was like, yeah, man, that's messed up what's going on in Brighton. And I said, the most important thing for us to remember is that even if you're not Christian, we need to make sure that we understand the benefit of Christianity in our nation. Because if we don't, then, and it goes away, then we lose the ability and all of the benefit that Christianity has brought to the United States of America for ages. But that would be too much like right and too much like a real conversation. And far too few people want to have that real conversation. Why is Christianity so important to America? Because we are blessed by the Lord our Father, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus Christ, because we have always been very close in ties to that. But now we can't have that conversation, because if you say that, you're anti this, you're anti that. You can be anti everything else, but you can't be anti-Christian. So when I posted about that online, about them denying the nativity scene and stuff like that, people were saying all types of crazy, rude conversations and stuff like that. Oh, cry more. Oh, Christians are the bad ones. Oh, world's smallest violin. Oh, this, oh, that, and some really serious stuff that I can't repeat on the online or on the radio. So it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And what's happening? This is just allowed to go on. This is absolutely okay. It should show you exactly how much they hate Christians. And until Christians stand up, nothing's going to change. And until we stand up, our country's going to continue to go down the drain. 1 second. Excuse me, it's dusty in here. Drink water, stay hydrated, you guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. It don't cost you nothing. Let's jump into some other stuff really quickly. Okay. Here where I live, I love where I live. But like I said, that issue with Brighton and the anti-Christian nonsense is insane. That is also going all around our nation right now. All of these magical church fires, all of these church break-ins, all of these stealings of the statue of Mary, right? Like, I'm a Protestant. I'm not, I guess I'm a Protestant. I don't even know. Honestly, I lean more towards orthodoxy because the Catholic Church has become corrupted with this new pope and the previous pope before that. Honestly, since Vatican II, the Catholic Church has been jacked up, probably a little bit before that, but that's when it really started to take root in modernism, and it caused the destruction and calamity that we are facing right now. But it's not just the Catholic Church, it's also the rest of the body of Christ and the Protestant Church as well. And that's a very serious problem. But all of these statues of the Virgin of Mary, and I say that because I'm not big on veneration. So when I see these statues of the Virgin of Mary getting stolen or getting thrown into the woods and all types of other crazy stuff, or getting vandalized or getting its head cut off and stuff like that, that needs to tell you that that is an action against all Christians. Not the statue of the Virgin Mary, not against Catholics, against every single Christian, okay? Against every single Christian. That's what these are. These are acts of declarative war against Christianity. But can we have a conversation about that? Of course not. That'll be too much like right. That'll be too much like right. It's very, very, very serious. Very serious. I see some more comments coming in. Let me pop some of them up. Now, let's take a second and go back to the AI for a moment. I've talked many times before about how AI is coming for different jobs and stuff like that. Well, we've got a new issue now as they're trying to reprice the models and stuff of AI so that it makes it more expensive for the average person to use them, and it downgrades the power in which they can use for a certain price. That's problematic because it's the government that is the driver behind this right now, not the AI companies. Of course, AI companies want to make more money and stuff like that, but it's really the government that's driving this push, and it's a very, very big problematic issue. But nobody is talking about that because, again, AI, yes, it's going to take over everything. Of course, it's going to be a very big problem. That's fine. But what we need to understand is while that's happening, there are ways that we as individuals can actually use it to our benefit. But this is why they've pushed this whole concept of, oh, all of the AI stuff is AI slop and nonsense and stuff like that. It's all ridiculous. It's all stupid, and it's all intentional to, oopsie, I broke that. That's broke. I think it was broke already. Anyway, it's all intentional to harm our nation. So we see what's going on. We see them changing models. We see them upping prices. We see them turning everything around so that it's not affordable for the everyday citizen. They don't want it to be affordable for the everyday citizen because they know that if it is affordable for the everyday citizen, you might have a chance to come up. Now, if you look at there was a study done, it was about 141 countries. They found that with the AI growth, it's very likely to cut a lot of white-collar jobs, a lot of white-collar jobs. So these are the more upper-end type of jobs and stuff like that. And people aren't really paying attention to that, you know? That's not like somebody that is middle class or in poverty or something like that. Most of these people in these higher level jobs, like they don't know what it's like to be poor. They don't know what it's like to have hardship. A lot of them. So that's going to cause a lot of massive confusion when those jobs start getting cut. It's really concerning because at the same time, while those are going to start getting cut, which we've seen Google cut like 15,000 jobs, something crazy like that so far. We've got all these, Anthropic is cutting jobs and stuff like that. Amazon's cutting jobs because the AI is becoming more and more efficient. It's a very, very serious situation. It's a very, very serious situation. And people aren't paying attention to it. Customer service jobs, the AI, have you heard the AI? The voice AI? Man, it works really good. Pick up a phone call, have a whole conversation with you real good, and it'll only get better. In another year, voice AI will be so good that it could probably do pretty much any call center job as good as most people. And let's be honest, most of us don't like calling into a call center to begin with because it's terrible customer service. So if the customer service is already terrible, which I'm going to give a shout out to LG because they have had the best customer service I've ever experienced in life. I don't know, drop some comments about your great customer service calling into a customer service station from different places below. So drop that in there. But yeah, but a lot of these places have terrible customer service. So how much more better or worse could AI be at doing one of those jobs? Like, it's not going to be. So this goes back to talking about entry-level jobs also when we're having these conversations. If the young people that are trying to get into the workforce are already having difficulty, they put in 10, 20, 30, 100 different applications to different places, and they're not getting callbacks, okay, which a lot of those are filtered by AI, which is another crazy thing. So you got AI squeezing you in all directions. Then they have to compete with the illegal aliens and the foreigners for jobs. This is very serious. And I'll give a best example I can give you that we saw this happen on a quasi-federal level was the Tennessee Valley Authority. Okay, go look up the Tennessee Valley Authority, the history with it, because there's some illustrious history there. It's a whole big program. I don't have time to talk about that today. But in the Tennessee Valley Authority, there were people that were working there, good paying job, mind you. There were people that were working there, and they were forced. 1933 is. Apparently Google thought that I was asking it a question. Okay, it says, created in 1933, the Tennessee Valley Authority was built to provide flood control, electricity, economic development across the region. So now, these people that were working at the Tennessee Valley Authority were forced to train these Indians to do the jobs that they had. These Indians from India, not Americans who happen to be red dots, people from India. And they brought them from India over here and fired all the American workers. Trump caught wind of this in his first term, and he put the end to that real quick. But that's what's happening, right? So that's what's happening. That's on the higher level of that. Like, that's not really high skilled labor, because we can talk about the people that are the doctors and the other, and they're foreigners, or we can talk about the engineers and how they're foreigners and all of this and all of that, right? And then people will say, oh, well, America doesn't have that many. We don't have that many, whatever the problem is, you know. Well, wait a second. What do you mean we don't have that many? Why don't we have that many? That sounds like an educational issue to me. That doesn't sound like a people issue. Why aren't you, if we need more people to do those jobs, to be able to have that knowledge, why aren't you training the children when they're young to do those jobs in those positions? You know, I remember that they used to be like, oh, well, learn coding, get a job coding. And look at all the coders that have been fired. Look at all of the coders that have been fired. I was talking to a friend of mine who has a degree, a business admin degree in MIS, okay, Management Information Systems, and was talking about how hard it is for him to find a job, and he's still living at home with his mother. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so this stuff is real. Like, this is real stuff impacting our economy. And the more that we let foreigners and illegal aliens in here, the more that it's going to become a serious issue, because we're going to be competing directly against them. And some people, I made a similar statement like the week before last, and then a whole bunch of Haitians jumped into my comments and had all the rudest, nastiest stuff to talk about. And I'm like, dude, I didn't even think of you in the top 5 people when I talk about foreigners. Like I don't know that you exist. Like, I know they exist, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think about them when I say foreigners. Like, why are you in my comments? Like, they just reassured me that ending TPS and sending them all back is exactly what needs to be done. And what they really showed me after all that nonsense is that not only that, but also they need to not let anybody else in from Haiti. Because the way these people came in my comments was ridiculous and unacceptable. You know, like, if you're definitely not making the case for why we should keep you here, you made the whole case for why we should get rid of you. And it's very concerning, because it just shows you how much these people think that they're better than you, and the reason why they send all of the money that they get out of the country, and it impoverishes our nation. And this is a cyclical impact of immigration and illegal aliens, both at the same time, and we have to be able to understand that. And we need to be able to talk about these conversations openly, because if we don't do it now, then what's going to happen later? Before we get out of here, I want to talk about one more thing, but hit the like button, hit the share button. It don't cost you nothing. Drop some comments, even if it's just a thumbs up or an American flag. Everyone helps a lot. And definitely share this out with more people. And if you want to support the show, either over here or down below. So I want to jump into the fact that CBP and ICE are now hiring 11 different companies to do a whole bunch of surveillance to the tune of $513 million. Now, that's not a lot, but it is concerning because it's in relation to surveillance equipment. I'm not big on surveillance. I support the police. I have friends that are police officers, sheriffs, stuff like that. But I don't like government expansion of surveillance. It's very concerning because they don't lock up criminals. So who's the surveillance for? It's clearly for you and for me. You understand what I'm saying? Because if they're not locking up criminals, must be for you and for me. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. Be with us next week. Follow my page online. You'll find me the Marcus C. Williams. Follow me on YouTube, the Marcus C. Williams channel. You'll find me. And you guys be blessed, be well, and remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. I love you all. So, last thing for you guys online. We got to get more people to understand what's going on. The attack against our country is coming from inside already. And we see it. We see it clearly. I saw online earlier, I saw Trump do a post talking about, they caught 16,000 people were arrested by marshals in DC, right? I don't live in DC. Well, how is that helping me? You know, Trump, how are the 16,000 people that you arrested in DC helping me? I don't live there. How about you arrest 1,600 people from here? You know what I'm saying? How about you arrest some of these clowns that we got on city council or the school board that are stealing all the money from the children? Like, what about that? Like, what is going on really? Like, it's frustrating because then Trump said something about the safety and security of our elections. Arrest somebody then, bro. Arrest somebody. And people are like, oh, well, just give it time. Trust the plan. Trust the plan. I don't got no trust in no plan or no part of the government. Never. I don't got no trust. I got a little bit of hope. Okay. I got a little bit of hope in this government. I really do. I got a little bit of hope. I don't like it. And to be honest and shame the devil, under this administration, I am following more different departments of government than I have ever followed in my life or than I thought that I ever would. So that's kind of crazy also itself. So I got a little bit of hope, but I don't got no trust in it or faith, because don't put your faith in man, put your faith in God, right? But the fact of the matter is when I look at it on its face, we've got the president up here talking about, the elections, arrest somebody, bro. Arrest somebody, anybody. And people are like, well, the arrests are coming. I don't want them to come. I want them to happen now. Like, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? What are we even doing? Well, they're coming down the pipe or whatever. No, the full force of the Department of Justice should have been thrown against these COVID Nazis, Gestapo, and COVID tyrants when he got into office. The full weight. Everything else should have been put on the back burner unless it was like Guzman or something like that, okay? Like, they should have put the full weight of the DOJ against these COVID tyrants. They should have put the full weight of the DOJ against these people that did this fugazi nonsense with the elections. Only two things they needed to focus on when they got in. The day that they got in, after they started to replace people at the DOJ, they needed to focus on these COVID tyrants and the freaking issues with our election systems with the people running scams on that. It's not complicated. The FBI, the DOJ, throw them all at it. Then we got the NSA, which what even does the NSA do, okay? They listen to our phone calls, track our movements, everything all the time, and we can't get none of these people. Oh, well, it's the deep state inside these agencies. So haul them off to a prison somewhere. Arrest some people, bro. Make some stuff happen. Make it happen. Okay? You the captain, make it happen, captain. Like, come on now. Like, I feel like the administration plays in my face. Like, I like this administration better than a lot of the other ones. Probably the best one in my whole lifetime, to be honest. But the bar is very low because, again, United States government. But I like the administration overall, but don't tell me, oh, the elections are important. Oh, the COVID tyrants. And that Massey is like, well, I'm doing a referral for what's his name? Fauci. Fauci, what about BRICS? What about the rest of them? Okay. Fauci? Yeah, Fauci, definitely Fauci. Where's Cuomo? Okay. Where's Kathy Hochul? Okay, where are all these other people, these COVID tyrants? Where's Gretchen Whitmire? Right? Like, these people need to be in prison hardcore. We're doing a referral because of contempt of court because of Biden's what do you call them? Biden's pardons. Frick his pardons. You preemptively pardoning somebody, bro? Like, is that a thing now? So I can just be like, yo, preemptively pardon me for crimes that I may or may not be accused of in the future. That's wild. That's wild. And people want to say, well, it's a pardon, of a presidential pardon. Then I want all of these people taken to court on the state level. If we can't get them in federal court, we got to be able to take them to court in different states. The DOJ can definitely do that. Like, y'all not being creative enough. If the Democrats was in there and they was like, we gonna go after these people, they's gonna go after us. Okay? Like, what are you talking about? It's frustrating, right? Like, it's really, really frustrating. And I feel like these people play in our face and they're like, oh, this is an issue, that is an issue, but this isn't as big of an issue as you think that it is. Don't play in my face, bro. Nobody's going to jail, nothing. Then people will say, oh, well, what about Epstein this and Epstein that? Now, let me tell you guys something about Epstein. But before I do, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit follow, share this to some groups, some friends, some family, all of this, because this is important conversations we need to have. Let's talk about Epstein real quick. You know how everybody said, oh, well, Epstein is a bunch of pedophiles and stuff like that? Let me tell you something real about Epstein, okay? And I don't think that people are going to like it. We didn't find any information or see any information from any of that stuff that says that there was anything to do with underage children. But we did find a lot of sex work stuff. Okay, young girls, yes, absolutely. Okay, but pedo stuff? No. Maybe we would consider the age of consent higher in certain places, but up until a couple of years ago, France didn't even have an age of consent at all. You know, then they wanted to put it to 13. In most states, in a lot of the states in the United States, it's still 16. So we have to have a serious conversation about that. And I bring this up because people want to, it's intentional recrafting of crimes, right? To misdirect you. We know that he was a bad man. We know that he was doing sex work and stuff like that, had people doing sex work and stuff like that. But the most important thing that we know is he is a financial criminal. Epstein is a financial criminal. That's what he went to jail for, y'all. That's what he went to jail for. Not pimping prostitutes. He went to jail for financial crimes. So you mean to tell me in all of those tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pages of emails and stuff like that, there ain't no financial crimes? There ain't no financial crimes. None. They don't got no financial crimes out of all of that. So when people are like, oh, well, the Epstein files, this, that, and the third, I need you to understand that this is a man that has been the bag man for all of this money for years, that this is the man that ended up going to jail over those type of transactions with monies. It was always about money with Epstein. And you're telling me with all of this information that came out, none of it is about any type of financial stuff to put anybody in jail over any financial stuff? The devil is a liar. The devil is a liar. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. All of that stuff came out and there's no extra financial crimes, no financial improprieties. Who's stupid? You'd have to be a fool. You'd have to be a fool to believe that, you know, and that's a very serious conversation. But nobody wants to have that conversation. And if we have that conversation right now, can it be a real conversation? Because I believe that it was purposely fed out to people that it was about pedophilia and children things to distract from the financial crimes and the other devious stuff and sabotage and espionage that was being done by him. Because we know he was an agent for Mossad. We also know that he might have done work with the CIA, but there is none of that came out in any of this stuff. There's some light connections that might make it seem like that, but there's nothing really tangible that you can take somebody to court, file against them for. So none of that, no financial crimes. What are we doing here? What's going on? Like, this is them playing in our face. So nobody was ever going to jail for any of that. Nobody was ever going to jail for any of that. So they're like, oh, well, all these pedophiles. Listen, what happened? Do you want to talk about pedophiles? What happened to John McAfee? What happened to John McAfee? John McAfee was like, all these people is pedophiles. I got the files on them. They killed that man, blew up his hotel, blew up his house where he said that he had extra files that were going to be released. Blew up his house. And this was after chasing him around the world for like 5 years. You understand what I'm saying? Like, people need to wake up. You want to talk about the pedophiles and stuff like that? Look at Tim Tebow. Okay, Tim Tebow is like, yeah, man, we got to do all this work about all of these pedophiles and stuff like that, going after them and trying to do something about that, but we don't have enough funding. Nobody's really helping us and all of this and all of that. Come on, man. There are people out there doing that actual work in relation directly to that stuff. Nobody goes to jail, but you know, Epstein. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I want you to go check out some of the interviews lately with Tim Tebow in the last couple of years. I think he might have done one with Sean Ryan, and I forgot the other person that he did one with. I can't remember. Was it Patrick Bet-David? It might have been Patrick Bet-David, or it might have been Joe Rogan. But go check out Tim Tebow's stuff that he's been working on to go after the pedophiles and stuff like that. It's just sad and crazy. And again, you've got the NSA and the CIA and all of these people and all of those people listening to you all the time, and they can't catch these people. Stop it. Stop it. Then you got people like the former head of the Department of Homeland Security and the border czar and stuff like that they used to have. Kamala is trash. Then you had, what was it? Not Becerra. Becerra's trash too. But what's the other guy's name? Oh my goodness. I can see him. I can see his name. Mayorkas. You have Mayorkas lose 350,000 children. A lot of them went to homes with no numbers and no houses, no verification, no nothing. Thankfully, under the Trump administration, they found about 150,000, but there's still almost 200,000 of them still missing. Children. You know, they've been busting up all types of human trafficking rings where I live and child trafficking where I live. There are so many kids that go missing, children that go missing here where I live. It's beyond insane. And I'm guaranteeing you that most of them children are getting sold for organs or for blood or for slavery. And I can probably bet that a lot of them get sent out the country. A lot of them get sent out the country. I know that's what's happening with the girls in D.C. that are getting kidnapped. All the black girls in D.C. that have gotten kidnapped over the years. Go look that up if you want to see something horrifying. Just the sheer number and volume of black girls that have disappeared in D.C. over the years. They did some serious work on that a couple years ago. Go look that up. It's insane. So, but we talk about these things and we try to chalk it up for talking points. And nobody wants to talk about the real stuff that's going on in our country. But we still let all of these foreigners and all of these illegals in here. A lot of them are sexual predators. We got a whole bunch of them that practice a religion that believes that it's okay for you to engage in intercourse with small children that are prepubescent. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we really actually doing? We got people in Chicago marching, Muslims marching, all types of craziness going on in Chicago. We got it going on in Michigan, all types of craziness. These people trying to take over our country. They don't do none of that in any Muslim countries. Why don't they do it over there? Because it's illegal over there. How are they letting them do it here? They're trying to destroy our nation. They're trying to destroy our country. People better wake up. That's what I got for you. Hit the like button, hit the share button. It don't cost you nothing. Make sure you tune in next week to The Divide, 2:30 to 4 p.m. Also, make sure that you're subscribed and hit the little notifications icons or favorites, because I do drop other videos during the week and stuff like that. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, be blessed, be well, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. I'll catch y'all later.